Good evening, everyone. So excited that you came and joined us again. If this is your first time, I'm even more excited to help you get started on your trade machine journey. We're going to go through the usual disclaimers. The results here are provided for general information purposes as a convenience to the viewers. The materials are not a substitute for obtaining professional advice from a qualified person, firm, or corporation. This is not a solicitation to buy or sell any security ever. This is not advice, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
Welcome, everybody. I wanted to start by continuing telling people on the Zooms how great this community is, the trade machine community. We have a bunch of excellent traders, not only use the alerts from the Today tab or saved alerts that CML provides the strategy for, but have developed their own alerts. And one of them I use today for a trade mentioned in community. This is what community looks like. And it's from a gentleman, Joe Sirio. I hope I'm saying his last name correctly. He's one of the top traders and sharers of his personal alerts. And this is a different kind of trade. It's a short-term, quick trade. When we get the alert, when I get an email for a 14 DTE or 30 DTE or 21 DTE fast MACD long call, and in my notes, I always give Joe the credit. It's from Joe. That is a trade that if the alert is valid at the time that you are looking at the backtest, you enter in the middle of the day, beginning of the day, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been in and out of that trade in less than 2 hours. And we're going to take a look at what that trade is. I just need to move this out of the way. And the first thing I'll show you is Joe gave us a list of, I guess there were 10 stocks where these technical open conditions hold and generate positive returns. And we're going to go over what they are. But this link is in community. It's right here. It's underneath the CDNS, the one that I got this morning. And I just want to go over, all it is 14 DTE, buying a long call. His default is the 45 Delta call, closest to 14 days to expiration. CDNS is the stock where we received the alert this morning. And it's got good results, 6 and 1. I'll focus on the results later. All right, the technical open conditions. MACD is the key. It's short-term MACD, where the EMA 3-day / 5-day is greater than the EMA 9-day. Yesterday, that condition was reversed. So this has crossed over. The 3 and the 5 are now greater than the EMA 9, and the stock is greater than the SMA 8, and it's got an AI component. The kurtosis 1 year is greater than 1. So you can see it at the bottom of the backtest, these technical open conditions. You can also see it by scrolling down and clicking on technical open trade when, and there they are. The MACD, fast, 3 and 5, crossing up through the EMA 9. The stock is above the SMA 8. And in the last year, the kurtosis is above 1, right? So we'll save that. It's going to rerun the test quickly. I already pre-set this up. We're going to look at the CDNS long call. You'll see, I didn't scroll down far enough. It also has a closing condition where this is a 25% profit limit. As soon as it hits 25%, we close the trade, right? So now I have the date set for today as far as the end date. Days to expiration still 14. We're looking at a 3-year back test, and the results are quite good. 3-digit total returns. The win rates are 80 to 86%. depending on which long call you want to use. And this is excellent trade. And most of the traders who use this alert just do the long calls. And for the most part, they go around the 45 delta. By the way, quick aside, you click on this little icon here, the second to the right, and you can set your own deltas if you don't like the ones that the alert came with. This is just a leg one trade right now. We're only doing long calls. So be across the top row here for leg one delta. You click on this box, use my own deltas. If it's a two-leg trade, because I like two-leg trades, I like to spread my trades out. Spread trade where I'm still going to have my long call, but I'm going to have something against it to make it a smaller trade, requiring less buying power and less maximum risk. All right, but that's how you set your deltas. If you want to customize them, just click save. I didn't change them, so it's not recalibrating. And we can go through 2 years, still has very good results across the board. 1 year, still very good results. But all you're doing is buying a call. As I said, I like a smaller trade. I like to balance my long option against something. So I make spreads out of it. And I customized the spreads. I showed you how you can set your deltas. And for me, this is a smaller trade requiring less buying power and smaller amount of maximum risk if you do the comparison. And still the results are quite good. Similar percent wins and similar to slightly higher total returns. Okay. And the one I did today was CDNS was the 50-30 long call spread, 14 days to expiration. We can look at what TradeMachine suggested, still triggered, and March 15 expiration. And this happens to be the trade that I used today. March 15, long the 305 call, short the 315 call, same expiration. All I'm looking for is 25% of the debit that I paid. In my case, it cost me $395 for each one. So I immediately, when I was filled at $395, I put it in order, a GTC order to sell at $500, giving me a $105 gain or a little more than 25%. Now, this is not in the formal alert from Joe, but what I do is if I start losing money and I get close to a 50% loss, I reconsider the trade. It's got such a high win rate that I'm not necessarily going to take it off at a 50% loss, but I focus on it more closely. I don't like to lose a lot more than 50% on a trade. Just my personal preference. And we can quickly scroll through. You can see that the 2 and the 1 year results are very similar to just being long the call. Still a very high win percentage and similar or slightly better returns. And 1 year, just to complete the story, still very good results. And like I've said, I've been in this trade a couple of days. I've been in the trade for less than 2 hours. As soon as I get to 25%, close it out with my GTC will close it out for me. I've got my buying power back and it's on to the next trade. I want to emphasize, I never would have known about this short-term fast MACD trade if it wasn't for being in the community and paying attention to the good traders and their personal alerts that they're willing to share in the community with all the users. So it's really valuable. I highly recommend it. I'll be there, try and help out during the trading day. But it's the place you want to be if you're using TradeMachine. And with that, it's time for Amanda to come back and read the questions.
You got it. Good evening. Is there a way of scanning stock for stocks that have a TTM squeeze or one that has just fired?
Okay, so we do have a version of the squeeze. Let me go to a backtest tab. Okay, we have under open trade when we have the bull squeeze and we have the bear squeeze. Let's look at a bull
Yeah.
squeeze. We're just looking at one stock. But then what we can do is we can access one of the portfolios. I don't think they specified where they wanted to look for what stocks they wanted to look at, did they?
Nope. Just the TTM squeeze and looking for one that just fired. So I think just being able to locate essentially winners in this case. Like,
Okay,
how are you
so
to set up
we're
alert?
going,
I would say
we're
set up alerts at this point is what
yeah,
it sounds
yeah.
like needs to happen.
Okay, we're going through the NASDAQ 100 pretty quickly. The end date is correct. It's a bull squeeze. When when the alert happens, we're going to get long calls about 14 days in this example. I'm not up on all the details of what the option trade is that corresponds with the bull squeeze, or if it's open to the individual trader's discretion. All right, so we have,
Max,
well,
where could they find out the details of the
there's
squeeze?
someone keeps telling me about this Learn tab. If you click right there, you can get to the Learn tab. But
Uh,
let me just finish this first.
yeah, no, I was just going to add you can search even the word just squeeze and it should find it. We are working to make the Learn tab even more easy to navigate and adding content all the time. So it is ever evolving. Keep your eye. There might be new articles coming very, very soon.
All right. So all I did was click on average trade percentage twice to get the best average trade return at the top of the list. And then for me personally, I would scroll down, and when I have a high number here, like a triple digit number for average trade percent, positive number, of course, and it has more than one result, two or better for me, especially since we only went back 1 year. I would create an alert for EA, DDOG. These are all great results. NXPI, Siri. I didn't even know there was a stock named Siri. Guild, and just scroll down, and I would keep going, multiple positive results, and I would go down to, I don't know, 20% or higher for the average return, and click all those results, click all those rows, and then create results by an alert. So it will create a multiple alert tab in the alert section with whatever I've clicked. So I've clicked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stocks. Let's add alert. And there are my 5 stocks. The alert type is the bull squeeze. And I would add a note for myself. In this case, what we just back tested was 14 ETE and long call when the bull squeeze was triggered. And then I'm not going to do it, but if I click on add alert, it'll create the 5 alerts. Did I cover the question adequately,
I
Amanda?
think you did. I
Okay,
think you
cool.
did.
And of course, what Amanda was highlighting is you can click on the Learn tab and then just in here type squeeze, and it'll give you the article or multiple articles that talk about the TTM squeeze, technicals and the TTM squeeze. Okay. All right. So let's go back to the next question.
Sounds great. Why don't you just walk through how to change deltas both for standard back test like long call or call spread, and then also on the custom strategies how they would change deltas?
Okay, sure. So let's go to one of our back tests. Here's the long call spread. All you have to do is, what are we calling this symbol, this icon? So it's the second most from the right icon. And as I had shown before, you click use my own deltas. And in this case, it's a spread. So it's using leg 1 and leg 2. I can set up whatever deltas I want. I can make this 70-30 instead of 60-30. I can change the 30-10 to the 50-10. I can change the 40-20 to the 40-30. And then you just go save, and it'll rerun the test with the new deltas. Now, the other place where you get to save and select deltas is if you're using a custom strategy. So I'm going to click on custom. I'm going to pick a strategy, something that I use. Let's look at the 1x3x2 14-day, but not the CML version, something that I can customize. And as we know, CDNS, good results on the 1x3x2, 25% profit limit. But that's not why we're here. We're going to edit this custom alert, and you can see it's all 14 DTE, long 137, delta, put, short 3, 25 delta puts, and long 2, 10 delta puts. And we're going to change this to a 21-day alert. And we're going to change the deltas to 30, 20, and we're going to leave the 10. All right. So very quickly, I go put, I go 37, I go 21, and I add it. And then I take off the first one there. And then we're going to get short, put 25. We want 21 days to expiration. We're going to do 3 of those shorts. We're going to add that, and I'll get rid of this old one. And now the last one, we want short put, we want 10 delta, but we want 21 days to expiration, and we want 2 contracts. I add that. I delete the old one. This is the new setup. It's still a 1x3x2. We change the strategy name from 14-day to 21-day, and we hit save. Let's see. Oh, okay. I forgot to change the first 2 to 30 and 20. Just did it again. I changed to 21 days. I forgot to change the 37 and 25 to 30 and 20, but I could have. But it's a new custom alert because everything is now 21 days. And I'll just change one of these just because I want to show you that you can change the delta. And one, that, and get rid of that. And now we have a 30, 25, 10, and I would describe it more fully in the title if I was going to save this, but we're not. Cancel that. Okay. I think I've covered every possible way to change and customize the deltas.
I think you did. Someone commented that the TTM squeeze, they found it interesting that it doesn't seem to happen that often.
In my personal history with the TTM squeeze is it's the TTM squeeze that CML has modified, and it does not come up very often.
And
My
you've also got
personal,
to remember too that they're bullish and bearish. So depending on which one you select at any given time, it may be less than other times,
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
depending on
yeah,
the market,
yeah,
especially in certain, as Ophir's talked about, different categories are going to have different results and they're going to be not necessarily bullish and bearish at the same time. All right. After the bull squeeze, can you just click on the trade and see the chart?
What do they want to see?
After the bull squeeze, can you click on the trade and see the chart? So I don't know which trade they're referring to because you pulled
Yeah,
up
I did it. I
the
did it.
portfolio.
Yeah, I know, but let's just so we can see the chart easily. I'm going to go back to one ticker. Let's just do CDNS again.
The one that has the portfolio.
There's no chart with the portfolio one, is there?
Yeah, there will not be a chart with the portfolio one because
Right.
it's looking at, in this case, the NASDAQ 100. So it has
Yeah,
100
it
different
looked at
tickers.
100 stocks. There's not going to be this.
However, if you want to view the chart, you can update the ticker to only reflect the ticker that you want to review the chart for.
Right, right. What in this case, I just picked CDNS. Okay.
They mentioned by clicking on the ticker, that is going to pull up the trade details,
Right.
not the chart.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's pick I can show that very quickly. I don't want to sit through let's do the Dow 30. Okay. We have the total row, and now I can click on AXP and see all the trade details for this alert. There's only this one trade for this one. And we can also see some other statistics. The total return for 50% return, 25%. Percent wins, it was 1 and 1, so it's 50%. The average win is 34.3%. The average loss is only 2.2%. So even though this is only 1 and 1, I like it because when it loses, it only lost 2.2%.
And then
Okay.
they also mentioned that they'd like to see the backtest settings on that. And to clarify, in portfolio view, it is not going to show a chart. So you would then have to view single stocks to look at the detailed chart.
We clicked bullish squeeze. We clicked bull squeeze. It does not. This is one of the few custom alerts that CML provides where you don't see the details at the bottom of your backtest, whether it's a portfolio or individual. So if that's what the person is referring to, because it's a bull squeeze or a bear squeeze or a bull mammoth or a bear mammoth, you don't see the details of the technical open. Okay? Maybe that's what they were referring to.
That is true. We actually do in the Learn tab, we have a detailed article, and I believe there is a video for that that discusses open conditions for the squeezes as well as closed conditions for the squeeze. And I think we touched on this Tuesday, but in that case, the closed conditions are or conditions, not and, which is one of the exceptions to the rule for that.
What's next?
All right. Is the portfolio list of NASDAQ or S&P 500 updated whenever they put stocks in or out of the list, or do users have to do that manually? For CML provided lists, we do update it. If you have your own, for example, we don't have, because there's not a way to backtest 500 tickers at a time, we don't have the S&P 500 as a pre-built portfolio for users from CML. So any user created portfolios would need to be manually updated.
Yeah, so the ones that CML provides, the NASDAQ 100, so if something changed in there, it would be taken care of by CML. The Dow 30, and then a whole bunch of sectors, financial sector, tech sector, utilities, etc. And then there's just the Magnificent Seven, and there's mega banks, top ETFs. They put together a portfolio of just software companies, and then you can add whatever portfolios you want to put together. I have one of about 46 stocks that I consider liquid, option liquid enough to trade.
Let me get to the next question. Fear sometimes mentions having a portfolio of trades. Would it be possible to show how TradeMachine and Pattern Finder can be used to help set up a portfolio of trades in a future webinar? Do you want to walk through maybe how you do some? Because I know you don't necessarily get into the CanSlim patterns and charts within Pattern Finder.
That's correct. I'm a novice in that area.
But
yeah, so
maybe share some of the screener.
I could do that, but I think we can cover the surface. We can build a presentation that goes into detailed building of a portfolio of the different types of option trades. And those different types are really long and short delta, long and short volatility, and basic things like that. And you can construct it pretty simply by just looking at the different trade strategies on the Today tab. Buy the dip, you're buying calls. Fade the dip, you're selling a calls. You're selling a put spread. This is selling a put spread. You're short volatility. You're buying options. You're long volatility. So if you do one of these and one of these, you've got a long volatility trade in your portfolio. You've got a short volatility trade in your portfolio. If you want to be long volatility, here's another alternative, the long strangle technical. The default for this is the 40 delta long call and 40 delta long put. I think it's a 30-day trade, but so there's another example of getting long volatility. Bullish burst is long delta, long volatility, bearish burst, short delta, long volatility. I mean, you can build it many different ways, but for a detailed presentation, that's going to require a little preparation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually have that on the requested list of future live helps. So we will definitely make sure that that's a priority to get that addressed for you.
Right. I mean, even I say one more thing because as I think about it, I believe Ophir's presentation where he delivered 140 custom alerts, I believe he split them into 4 categories and talks about how they're all different and contribute to the portfolio of different option trades, because this is selling volatility, this is buying volatility, et cetera, et cetera. I think it was when he talked about the pre-earnings 14-day long call diagonal, buy the sell off, spread the sell off, and fade the dip, all with AI. That video, he combines that with a discussion of portfolio of different option trades. You don't want to just be doing 1x3x2 puts 14 days long in your portfolio of trades. You don't want to just be doing short put spreads in your portfolio of trades. You want a nice combination of the different types.
He does talk about crossing over between TradeMachine and Pattern Finder, and I believe it is the one about skew and kurtosis. So if you're looking for like a little bit of a preamble of how to use them in conjunction, that might be another place to start until we can actually have a live help on it. But I will definitely move that up the list.
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
good.
Next question is the fast MACD trade. You mentioned a customer strategy from Community. I'm just starting to follow Community. Who would be good traders to follow?
You can pick them out pretty quickly. Come to Community and you'll see pretty quickly. At the beginning of this live presentation tonight, I gave the credit for the fast MACD to a gentleman named Joe Sirio, and he is one of the contributors that you want to follow. There are both male and female traders in the community, and we have representative great traders from both sides of that aisle. There's Susan, who's an excellent trader, focuses primarily on just a couple of trades. That drives me crazy a little bit, but she's an excellent trader. She knows what she's doing, and she's always there to help. And there's a whole bunch. I don't want to. There's the Daves. There's Canuck Dave. There's yet another Dave. There's the Whack 2, excellent. There's Susan. There's a whole bunch. I don't want to. KC is great. I don't want to not. Yeah, I don't want to skip anybody, so I'm not going to continue with that. But there are excellent traders who share their alerts, their custom trades in Community. And if you see something you like, that's how you built your alert database. You copy their alert, you analyze it, you like it, and then you save it. And you put in the notes section, you say, this came from Joe, and it's this kind of trade. You make your own notes, so when you get that alert, you know what kind of trade it is, even before you start looking at it. And then there's me. I try and answer the simple questions and sometimes suggest trades for analysis.
All right. I think that was a pretty thorough walkthrough of the community. One of our friends says, Amanda, are there can slim patterns in Pattern Finder? I haven't really played with it. There are can slim patterns in Pattern Finder. You can chart can slim patterns.
Pattern breakouts.
That's the one. I couldn't remember if it was pattern breakouts, pattern recognition. I knew it was pattern something. So you can filter by different pattern types. You can search by stock. If you click that drop down where it says pattern types.
Breakouts, pattern types. Okay.
You can see cups, ascending bases that are being formed. Of course, the resistance breakthroughs and support breakdowns, things of that nature. Pattern Finder has a wealth of knowledge that we don't talk about probably enough,
Yeah.
but you should definitely jump in there and play with it a little bit. And if you have any questions, email me.
Okay. Now let's hope that I can put my screen back together. Let's go here and let's move this down. All right. What's next?
The next one is there a reason that many stocks don't back test the short put spreads? I haven't seen those for a while.
Is there a what? Is there a
Is there a reason that many stocks don't back test short put spreads? So I think they're saying that they don't trigger in the short put spreads on the Today tab.
fade to dip?
I think they're talking about the post earnings short put spread at the very bottom.
Oh, okay. Because I'm saying,
Yeah.
wait, fade to dip is a short put spread.
So
We
if
don't
you're
get a lot.
referring to this one,
Yeah.
it's one thing that to note is that it is specifically post earnings. So there's a very limited number of instances where it could trigger to begin with. And then it also has to meet all of the other conditions. And in addition to all of the back test conditions, the Today tab has a minimum win requirement over 1 and 3 year periods. It has a minimum win rate, and there are some other conditions based on scan that also are factored into what is able to trigger on the Today tab.
Yeah. And it besides the technical open, stock has to be above the SMA 50, RSI 20, less than 70. It has to happen 2 days after the earnings event. So it's a custom earnings condition as well. And 2 days after the earnings, you close it 29 days after the earnings, unless it reaches your profit objective before then. And the trade must be up after the earnings event by at least 0.1%. So these are all technical open conditions for that trade. Okay.
That is perfect. We have some confirming that, yes, they would like a webinar about that. Thanks. Have some people hopping off early. They'll have to catch the recording for the rest of it. Can I use trend lines over a period of time and create an alert? Is Pattern Finder an additional service? So that's kind of all one comment. Pattern Finder is an additional service, but as a TradeMachine subscriber, you do get an additional discount to sign up for Pattern Finder, and it would only be $11 a month if you wanted to add that as an existing TradeMachine user. All
If
you have to
you're
do,
I'm sorry for interrupting you, but if you like to use graphs and you like to do that kind of analysis that we were talking about for the previous question, it's $11 a month. You want to sign up for it. At least try it for a month.
have you traded the 132 on SPX?
I'm trying to think. I think I back tested it. I haven't traded that lately, but I usually use it only for when it has technical open conditions. I'm not in the camp of just doing an option trade for the sake of doing an option trade, but some people only look at the graphs and they pick out their support points and their resistance points, and they're very comfortable without any other technical open conditions putting trades on. But I haven't done an SPX 1x3x2 lately, but I can certainly look at it and put some results up in community probably tomorrow. Ask them if they have any conditions, any open conditions they want to use to trigger
All right.
for
Yeah.
the SPX. Or
Yeah.
I guess I'm asking them, let's give them a
Yes.
minute and see if they respond.
Yes. No conditions.
Okay,
So
cool.
he can post that in community and you can take a
Yes,
look and ask him questions.
I'll do the
Perfect.
SPY, SPX, QQQ, NDX, and maybe I'll even throw in the IWM and the RUT.
All right. What are your thoughts on managing wash sales and options?
I have to be honest. I don't worry about that because I have professional trader status with the IRS. So my taxes and my returns and all my information that I get from my brokerage firm does not have any wash sales because it doesn't matter for me. I don't have that restriction. So I'm really not up on the wash sale rules. So I'd be reluctant to answer that question. In general, I would say, just thinking about it, if you have to close something and it's less than the 30-day or 20-day period before the end of the year, do it. Just do it. Worry about the trade before you worry about the tax consequences. That's the way I think, but I'm not subject to that.
There's another trader chiming in that they need to be careful about wash sales. And when you roll, don't roll, do the same strike. You need to move up or down. So this might be a great question to ask within the community because you're going to be able to hear it from everyone and what they've run into. So that's the whole point about the
Community.
community, is to learn from each other as well as everybody else.
Yep. And of course, neither Amanda or I are tax professionals, so we cannot, strictly speaking, give advice.
Yes,
I'm
CML
sure.
is not here for advice anyways. We're here to educate you so you guys can make the best decisions possible for yourself, because everybody's situation is different and everybody's trading style is different. So what works for Max doesn't work for everybody, and what works for me doesn't work for everybody. So just keep that in mind. We're here to support you and help you get on your own trading journey. All right, I think with that, that's a great place to end, and we will see you guys on Tuesday. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you next week.